The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
We welcome you inside episode 1 of the Mike Clowney Show. Hello, everyone. I'm the voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier, alongside Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. Mike, what a start to your career.
It's a pretty exciting day.
Yeah, a little bit. High drama. Features a 10-point fourth quarter comeback, tied for the longest game in Carson-Newman football history, and you win in 4 overtimes at UVA Wise, 40-37. We talked in the pregame show for the radio broadcast about expectations and wanting this to be about the process and setting you up for success in the fall. How does this one help for the future?
It helps in the sense that there was a whole lot of football game for us to watch coming in here on Monday. That's one big thing. I think overall, one big thing for us is, we're a football program under construction. And a lot of times when you're under construction, you want to make sure the foundation's solid and the frame is good. But there's some things that you have to adjust and change in order to get the house or the building to be exactly what you want it to be. And we saw a lot of that on Saturday.
Definitely showed the youth at times. Clear that Desmond Farrell and Darius Williams aren't at the back end of that secondary anymore. And showed that Philip McDowell, Jordan Seal aren't anchoring the offensive line. And yet, your defense still gets stops when it needed it to, and your offense comes through with some big-time moments as well. How proud are you of this team for the fortitude to rally when it had its back against the wall?
And that's when we talk about that foundation and frame. One big thing we've always prided ourselves on is being fighters. When we get our back against the wall, we don't find a way out. We find a way to fight and try to get the job done. And I'm so excited that, these guys, as young as they are, they still caught that part of it. They kind of still captured that moment and was able to kind of rally themselves to give us a chance to win the game.
This was a different deal, it felt like at times. Just the 5th time in school history that Carson-Newman has thrown for 300 yards in a game, and the first time it's happened in 6 years. Trey Mitchell was on point and had a couple of long touchdown passes in the fourth quarter that helped pave the way for the comeback effort. What did you see from him under center, and what did you see from Tyler Thackerson under center?
That's where Trey transferred in here from ETSU, a legacy guy here. Family went to school here, and so
arguably the second best arm in his family, his mom. Arguably.
Yeah, part of his legacy is to try to beat his mom out, which is going to be probably a tough feat for him. But I thought Trey did a really good job. He kind of added something to us that we haven't had in a while. He's got a really strong arm, understands things on the back end in the passing game, and was able to really kind of help us put ourselves in a situation to make a couple of long throws. I was proud of Tyler. Tyler, we talked about in the pregame show to where Tyler's doing that nursing program and, for a lot of time haven't been able to practice. And the biggest thing that does is timing and kind of getting all that stuff put together. And so, within the game, you can kind of see him start to bring a little bit of that together, and we'll kind of keep pushing to make sure we get all that cleaned up for him.
Something that you and I had talked about was the infrequency with which you guys were able to tackle within practices. And as the game went on, it felt like that grew stronger, especially in the fourth quarter with some of those key stops, especially Trezell Weish with his strip and, frankly, with the fumble recovery on Wise's final true possession in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the play with Trezell is amazing. It's an effort play. If you go back and look at the game, we made a lot of mistakes, but, one thing that we can't compromise is effort, running to the football. And so there are points in times to where we didn't do that well, and it's amazing that when I look at so many plays in that game, and our corner's out there, and he's kind of making that play by himself. He's having to wrestle a guy and get him down. Well, on that one particular play, we've got a corner out there that's got a guy held up. Trezell redirects and run and lays a lick on the guy, and we were able to get a turnover, which put us back in the football game. And so we can't minimize what it means on defense to run to the football, play with great effort, because we're going to make mistakes. And that effort will help us kind of overcome those mistakes until we get to the point we're mature enough to not make some of the mistakes we're making.
That was something you brought up in the run-up to this game. You didn't know how clean it was going to be, and I mean that's a fair thing for any team that's been 500 days between games. But you hadn't questioned this team's effort, and that was on display in full force on Saturday.
You know, it's where we always talk about the heart, and I think this team has got great heart. You know, one thing I talked to them about before we took the field was, you know, I heard something different. I heard one of the guys come to the top of the cross when we formed the cross at the beginning of the game. When they come together, he said, "I love you, brother." And that's one of the biggest things that you're looking at when you're talking about building a football team and being under construction, getting guys to where they realize and they want to learn, they want to fight for one another. And that's what we kind of saw at the end of the game.
Carson-Newman gets the job done in 4 overtimes over UVA Wise, 40-37. We'll break down the first half after these messages. This is the Mike Clowney Show. Back on the Mike Clowney Show as Carson-Newman gets the job done in 4 overtimes over UVA Wise, 40-37. Adam Cavalier alongside the head coach of the Eagles, Mike Clowney. Mike, if we talk about this win, we have to talk about special teams. And Christian Irwin, what a debut for a freshman kicker. He puts his name in the Carson-Newman record books alongside the likes of Kurt Duncan. Second most points in a game by a kicker in school history, and he ties Kurt Duncan's single game school record for field goals made in the game with 4, including one to tie it from 49 yards in regulation and one from 44 yards in overtime. What about the guts of the freshman to go out there and a kid who had made a career long of 45 yards in high school to best that on his second career collegiate kick to force OT?
I'm so proud of Christian and excited for him and his family. You know, Christian's a unique situation recruiting him, you know, both of his parents are military. So we felt like we were getting a kid that was probably pretty tough and had a pretty good edge to him. And when he started kicking for us, when he first got to campus, you know, you always kind of put guys under pressure and you try to stretch them and see how far it can go. We talked the other day, I was like, hey, where's my line, you know, that we can go for a field goal? And that's where he said, well, if it's on the 28, we can go for it. I said, I think the 32. And he said, and we put him in that situation twice. It's unique, and that's where we wound up going for the kick. But we put him in that situation twice in practice on Thursday. He missed both of them. But we really believe in him and what he can do. We knew he was capable. He's made those kicks before. You know, it's just a matter of believing in himself and being consistent enough to get it done. And so I just felt like he had a good enough edge that we could put him in that situation and he responded to the pressure.
Ingenious coaching decisions to kick the field goals on 3rd down in overtime. Mishandled snap gives you second life in that 4th OT, and he's able to bang it in from 44 yards out to win the game. How much of a relief was it to see that coaching decision pay off?
The bus driver, when we got on the bus, he said, Coach, I've only seen that pay off twice. And so I'm just glad I got to experience one of it. But that's same thing with him and the youth. I mean, we felt like, you know, that there's a chance for a mistake there. Let's just give them the opportunity that if we do make a mistake, that we'll give ourselves the chance to overcome it.
Defensively in this one, you do give up. First time that a team has run 109 plays against Carson-Newman in school history and give up more than 600 yards of total offense. How much of that is owed to having to replace 7 guys on the defensive side of the football? You
know, that's a lot of it. We talked about coach's standpoint. I heard the defensive coaches talking about, you know, we don't know what it's going to look like. And these kids going into this game didn't really know what it was going to look like until they got out there. It's their first college football game. You know, not only have we not played in, you know, over 500 days or 400 days, but like it's their first college football game. And so, you know, I thought they played well early, and then like there's a point to where, you know, all athletes, you talk about where you hit that wall to where it got hard. It was, you know, the game was going long. They're playing a lot of plays. And we kind of, you know, got to looking around and we had to make a decision on whether we were going to fight our way through it or back off. And it was just good to see them kind of respond and go out and get some stops at the end of the game so we can win the game.
It was a 40-37 final in 4 overtimes, but the Eagles led it 14-7 at the halftime break. We take a gander at those first half highlights.
6-yard line. Bruce in motion to the wide side right. Mitchell under center. Takes the snap. Trap left side McCowan. He's got a good game across the 15 and 10. McCowan bursting over the left sideline across the 5. He's to the house. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. It only takes a minute and 41 seconds. And after 500 days, the Eagles back on the scoreboard with a Drake McCowan 23-yard touchdown run on a trap over the left side. Outraced 2 Highland Cavalier defenders to the pot. Lone man to the short side right. Martin now in motion to the wide side left. Redwine back to pass. Will throw the screen to the right side. Complete to Johnson. Nobody covers him. And Johnson strolls into the end zone. Touchdown, Highland Cavaliers. Second and goal from the 5 for the Eagles. Thackerson under center, split backs. Takes the snap. Trap right side, Paul. Paul pushing the pile forward. He's across the 2 and 1. Paul breaks the plane. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. Off right tackle for Michael Paul. He drives the pile forward 5 yards. And the Eagles back in front 13-7 with 6:57 to play right now. Second and 15. Mitchell out of the gun, takes the snap, stands in, zings it over the middle of the field. That's over top of everybody and intercepted at the 40-yard line. Seized by Taylor, this 37-yarder. Snap comes back. Hold is down. The kick is blocked at the line. It's free left side. Trey Little will scoop it up. Little with blockers. He's across the 30 and 40. Little start and stop move to the 45, weaving his way back to the right, and Little returns it up across the 45 to the 47-yard line.
Those are the first half highlights. Carson-Newman up 14-7 at the halftime break over the UVA Wise Highland Cavaliers. Mike, after your first half as a head coach, what was your message in the halftime locker room?
It was weird. Like the trip, we didn't really get to talk a whole lot. The biggest thing that we talked about on the field there was, us taking care of us, not making mistakes. We felt like that most of the things that they gotten, like they've done a good job, but it was mistakes that we made. Way too many free plays on the defensive side of the ball to where we jump off sides and they get a chance to throw it up. I think they capitalized on 4 of those. Yeah. 1 or 2 of them on third down to where we've got a chance to get off the field if we just don't make a mistake and make a play. So that was our big message, just like, let's take care of us. Let's not go out and give them anything to give them an opportunity.
Really was an odd game when you consider how many plays there were, 197 between the two teams combined. Not one holding after 500 days of football. There wasn't one chop block. Carson-Newman was only called for a false start, I think, once. You had some offsides defensively, but in some regards, a remarkably clean game, all things considered. I don't know if Jason Graham's crew was a little more forgiving, but I was flabbergasted at how few penalties were called given the layoff.
Yeah, I think they understand that probably the game was going to be a little bit sloppy and probably let some things go that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have. Even like we talked about before the game, like the clock, delay a game, stuff like that, just trying to keep things on time. And so I think they overall did a good job of kind of working through that. Obviously, anytime I don't even know if anybody calls holding anymore anyway. So it may be something that we just take out of the rule book.
Get yourself on the rules committee. Make that happen. You look at the second half, and Wise comes out of the gates on fire, 17 unanswered through the third. What was the moment when you sensed that your team was starting to find itself and was going to fight back? The turnover from Trezell was big. And, once they scored that last touchdown before that little break, getting our guys over on the sideline and just kind of that quick question, like, what is going on? We looked shell-shocked, we looked surprised, we were out of sync. And so the biggest thing was just kind of making sure that our guys held themselves, number one, accountable, and then we held each other accountable. If you have a job, you have a responsibility to do it. We're blowing assignments because we're tired and we're not looking to the sideline. And so we've got to be able to have a little bit more awareness about us. And then once we kind of, a quick reminder, and I think our guys are prideful about what they do, and they were able to respond to that. How much of the corrections to make do you chalk up as football corrections in the grand scheme of things that you would have to be doing in the fall versus, hey, this is literally the first game in 500 days?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of both. When we look at it, we won't look and see who made the mistakes, and we won't look to see that overall, how is the field of mind. But we talk about detail all the time. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at it, those are the things we want to point out, guys, the things that we're really coaching you, this is why. It gives us some really good why moments. We ask you to run to the football because of this. It causes problems for other people. We want you to fit tight off the hip on that block because it'll seal that edge for us. And so we made a lot of little detailed mistakes that hopefully going and watching this video, guys will come back out and work on it this week, and we'll be better when we step on the field next time.
Carson-Newman gets the job done over UVA-wise, 40-37 in quadruple overtime. We'll be back to break down the second half and the overtime sessions when the Mike Clowney Show returns after these messages.
I joined the Guard for the simple fact that I could be home and also in the military. So I can have a civilian job and also in the military.
Fire low! Fire!
I would tell somebody who's trying to join the Guard, thinking about it, that it's a great opportunity. Opportunities for school, training, discipline, leadership. There's a lot of opportunities. It broadens your spectrum of life.
AEC spends its day focused on really serving the members. If you walk in any department within this organization, I think you will find that our folks are truly focused on serving our members. For instance, if you just follow our line construction crew, what are they doing today? They're putting up services to provide new services to our membership. They may be repairing or maintaining equipment. They may be building brand new power lines. All of that in order to serve the membership. Appalachian Electric Cooperative, a not-for-profit electric cooperative that really is focused on member service more so than anything.
Back on the Mike Clowney Show as Carson-Newman prevails in quadruple overtime, 40-37 over the UVA-wise Highland Cavaliers. Adam Cavalier alongside the Eagles head man Mike Clowney. Mike, for the first time since 2009, Carson-Newman overcomes a double-digit fourth quarter deficit. Again, not a bad way to make your coaching debut. You probably have liked it to be a little less dramatic. But, again, you talk about this team's fight and wherewithal. Just what is it? What sense did you get going into this little thing, this little season, that would be part of this team's DNA, that they had that capability in them?
I felt like it would happen. You just don't know when. And so, fortunately, I guess we got a lot of stuff hopefully out of our system or into our system more, just kind of coming out of the gate.
The overtime session happens, and your defense limits wise to just field goal attempts in every frame. What adjustments did Larry Slade make to have that happen?
Larry did a good job of getting guys on the sideline, and he challenged them from an effort standpoint. He challenged them to settle down, and then we basically went back and just kind of put them in a situation where they could just relax and play.
You turn your attention after this one to Mars Hill. Tim Clifton is always going to have a few tricks up his sleeve and appears to have reloaded from the loss of Craig Rucker, receiver. What do you have to do to improve upon this with an offensively always talented Mars Hill team coming in?
It's like going in and our guys seeing, the mistakes that we made. And the cool thing about the college game is Mars Hill's going to go back and see if we fixed them. And Tim and his staff do a great job of that. And so we've got to make sure that, from the fundamental, from, execution standpoint, that we go get our house corrected and working on concepts and understanding how we fit into those concepts as far as pass routes and so forth, to where we can kind of go out and respond to that stuff on Saturday.
Carson-Newman gets the job done over UVA Wise, 40-37. Here are the highlights from the second half and the quadruple overtime session.
Takes the snap, hands off Ravel straight ahead. Ravel picks his way forward, and Ravel barrels in. UVA Wise a PAT away from tying this one up. Ravel burrows in on the 5-yard run up the middle. Cassidy on for a field goal attempt. This one from 25 yards from the right hash. Eagles have one block today. They won't get a second. The kick is up, and the kick splits the uprights. So Cassidy pure. Prop from the gun with Johnson to his left. Prop takes the snap, design, draw up the middle. Prop with a lot of running room across the 15 and 10. Steps through a tackle at the 5, and Prop off to the races over the right hashes. Touchdown, UVA Wise. 25 yards on the quarterback draw. 3 wide set for the Cavs. 2 to the wide side right, 1 to the short side left. Prop takes the snap, play fake, throws it out Jarrett left side. The tight end makes the grab in the backfield, makes one man miss. Squiggles his way down across the 15. Ball loose. And the Eagle grab it. Yes! Carson-Newman forces and recovers a fumble when it absolutely had to have it. Down at the 11-yard line, Frank Lee Carthy, the double barrels in a shotgun formation with him. Mitchell takes the shotgun snap. Three-step drop. He's going to air the long ball, left sideline. Dudley runs under it at the 50. Dudley in a foot race across the 20 and 10. Dudley will run it. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. 89 yards through the air to DeQuan Dudley. Mitchell finds him wide open. And the Eagles a PAT away from being within a field goal. Mitchell takes the snap, sings over the middle of the field. That is complete to J.J. Lewis at the 40 on the slant. Lewis on his horse across the 20 and 10. J.J. Lewis will run the race to the end zone. Touchdown, Carson-Newman. 57 yards on the slant from Mitchell to Lewis. And Carson-Newman has scored 13 unanswered in the fourth quarter. Snap is back, hold is down. Irwin's kick has the distance, and Irwin's kick is good. Christian Irwin from 49 yards out knots it at 31 with 33 seconds left. Irwin trying to push Carson-Newman into the lead with a 26-yard kick. Snap is back, hold is down. Irwin's kick through the uprights with plenty of leg to go from 26. And Carson-Newman leads at 34-31. Crop in the gun. Ravel out to the right. Crop will dump the screen to Ravel. Ravel can't make a man miss. Kendall Williams cuts him down in the backfield. And the Eagles hold the Cavs off the scoreboard. Left footer Irwin trying to make his third field goal of the contest. Snap is back, hold is down. Irwin's kick, plenty of distance, and he shoots it through the middle of the uprights. Carson-Newman back in front, 37-34. And they keep Wise off the scoreboard. Fourth down, a 44-yard try now, middle of the field from the 27. Snap is back. Udy's hold is down. Irwin's kick is on the way. It has the distance, and it has the line. Irwin, a back handspring in celebration as he buries it from 44 yards out. And Carson-Newman wins it in walk-off fashion on the boot from the freshman kicker from South Carolina. Final score from Carl Smith Stadium. It's Carson-Newman 40 and UVA Wise 37.
All right, those are the highlights from the second half and the overtime session. Mike, as you look forward to Mars Hill, and again, we've talked about it seemingly ad nauseum, process over results. What's the next step in the process for this football team?
The next step, is naturally going to be Monday, us kind of having good conversation and being real with one another about where we are. And from there, talking about where we want to go. And coming back out, having a good week of practice this week. It's still going to continue to be about us, more so than it's going to be about the teams that we play. And so that's going to be our driving force this entire time, is to make sure that, we come out of this spring better than we started it. And we'll kind of let the games take care of themselves.
Are you somewhat glad after witnessing what you witnessed on Saturday that you have a chance to get this out of the way without the potential for an NCAA playoff berth looming?
It is. I mean, because there's a little less pressure there, I guess, from our standpoint, because, like, it's do or die, once the championships become in play. But at the same time, like, there's still that same, I don't want to use the word pressure, but urgency, because every game you play, you want to win it. And so there's a little bit of both.
I find it so interesting talking to all the coaches throughout this league who want to use this as an opportunity to get guys reps. And then you have an instant classic like you have on Saturday, and you want to do everything that you can to win that game. How challenging is that to balance as a head coach?
It is really balancing, because, like, it's tough because, I mean, we still look at some of the guys at the end of the game, we go into wanting to play a bunch of guys, and we all know as coaches and as competitors, once we get there, that competitive part is probably going to always take over. And so just looking at some of those guys and, like, you really wish you could have done more to get more guys involved, but, the thing we told them, we're going over there to win the game. And so we did what we felt like we needed to do to win the game, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of go back and still find other ways to get other guys involved.
Mike, thanks for the time. Pleasure as always. Congrats on career win number 1.
Thank you.
That is Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. This has been the Mike Clowney Show. The voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. Thanks for joining us.